can only be described as a simple studio-like condition. Not an actual studio-like condition, but it's similar to a studio-like condition. Add in a few lights here to the extent of our abilities. Let's see, am I in frame if I drop in like that? I think I am. What's up? It's MTK the Journeyman here. I have been publishing. That's right. I published a book. Now, to my feeling, if you want to publish a book, it needs to be bound. And I count books, generally speaking. It's not till the cover is done that I feel that it's done. So, I feel like it should be bound. It should have a cover. It should be printed. Well, nowadays, printing, what are we talking about? With color copiers and everything that exists in the world. This is a portable studio, that is to say, stuff I'm working on when I'm traveling. It's all kind of simply laid out. You have your scissors and blades and sharpeners and tweezers and pencils and so on. And so I created a book called The Writist. The Writist. This is The Writist. It's an edition of 9. Now there's going to be more. The second edition of this book I shall be producing probably this weekend, actually. But there are 9 of these, and they're numbered. Let's see, this is 5 of 9, 8 of 9. I don't know if you can see that. 8 of 9. And they have a nice cover, which is very simple. You may have seen that before if you've been here or if you've been to my studio. It is, of course, an ancient glyph. All right, let's just read this one then. The Writist, spelled T-H-E-W-R-I-T-I-S-T, The Writist. All right, for those of you who don't know, this is a glyph from Maya culture, Mayan glyph, which I understand is pronounced ik and represents the color black and is associated with the west to the Mayans, the Mayan people. Ik. Ik. Oops. Okay, so, The Writist. You got your C circle in both Christian and Buddhist years there. I'm going to start doing that more until I can do just Buddhist years, ideally. But C circle 2024 CE/2567 BE. Right. The Writist. So, I never chose to be anything. I began a reader, but started my first journal when I was 8, so, and I've kept one since, it doesn't say so. I began a reader, but started my first journal when I was 8, and I've kept one since. That's true. Here's the current one here. Look, see, this is Amsterdam, India, Bangkok, Cambodia, SF, for example. And here's what's current now. Right. September 01, 2566. last September. Well through past September. SFSA Bangkok, NYC, Boston, there's a lot that happened here, New Mexico. I never chose to be anything. I began a reader, but started my first journal when I was 8, and I've kept one since. And for 45 years, on any form that asks for occupation, I always put writer. Living in Brooklyn in my early 30s, like Walt Whitman did, I learned how much self-promotion he did for Leaves of Grass. He wrote glowing reviews of his own work under pseudonyms. He befriended and posed for New York photographers, right? To have portraits in the nascent days of that medium. And he declared himself the bard of democracy at the age of 36. My father disdained self-promotion. He believed devoutly in an interconnected, eternal, droning universe. He believed in mostly silent harmony with it. Egotism was gaudy to him. He admired the Japanese and looked the book house of the Japanese. I think Asians who believe in circular energy of an immaterial soul seek to dissolve ego as an element of the material self. That's a pretty good page. I have always written. I must have written 1,000,000 words by 30 when I moved to New York. I was published, some journalism, a couple of short stories. Once got paid $1 a word by Condé Nast for a short story of my own invention, and so I could join the union. And in the centerfold of this book is my union card. But reading was already dying. When I moved to San Francisco in 1993 on Xmas Eve, the TCP/IP protocol had just been signed. That was in October. And the World Wide Web was 2 months old. Writing became second to image fast. Fonts became important early. The look of it sped past the gist of it. We'd all have to learn design. Over the next 2 decades, text became just an element of image. I think it says catchphrase meme. Then text became image. So I became an artist. I make books. Newspapers, magazines, and even books are disappearing into tablets and phones. But I still love reading and writing with the feel of paper. For a long time, our numbers as readers have been dwindling. I even had the thought that I might end up as the last writer. But really, it turns out I was the first Writist. So, this is the Writist. The William Press First Edition, number 8 of 9. There are 9 of them. I made up the term Writist in 1997, but this publication makes me the first one. So there you are. Studio on the road.